There are a lot of rumors to discuss on today's show. I'm Will Scott. You're watching NBA Now. NBA Twitter has been buzzing all day around the possibility of a Bradley Beal trade. Shams Charania and Woj both tweeting that the Wizards and Beal working on a trade if Washington decides to kind of blow it up and move on from Beal and some other players. Here's what Shams said. Justin, the Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal will work together to find a trade for the three-time All-Star if the team elects to reset the roster in the near future, league sources tell me, and Joshua B. Robbins. Here's what Bradley Beal did last season. This came after he signed that massive extension last offseason with Washington. He was going into free agency last year as one of the best guys available, but it was clear that Washington was going to pay him more than anyone else was going to pay him, which is why he signed with the Wizards. But a year later, Washington, again, not in playoff contention. Maybe they will look to move on, send Beal to a contender. Brian Windhorst said this yesterday before that report from Shams Charania. He's saying this: if Bradley Beal gets traded between now and next Thursday, which is the draft, I think people are going to be very surprised at the price and potentially how low it's going to be because his contract is not attractive. And Windy is right. The contract is a mess. $46.7 million is what he's owed for this upcoming season. $50.2 million after that, $53.6 million after that. And then in 2026, 2027, he is owed over $57 million. So whoever trades for Beal is going to have to pay him for years to come, even as he gets older here, which is maybe what Windhorst was alluding to in terms of the price might not be as high as we've seen for some trades in the past, like Donovan Mitchell, like Rudy Gobert, because of this contract situation. Shams followed up his first tweet saying that the Miami Heat, who just lost in the NBA Finals a few days ago, they're expected to emerge as a suitor for Bradley Beal. That's not a surprise. I expect Miami to be very aggressive this offseason. Taking a look at some possible destinations here for Beal. The 76ers are another team to watch. I think Beal to Philly makes a lot of sense. The Knicks potentially, the Warriors, if they want to extend that championship window. Of course, the Heat and the Houston Rockets, because if the Rockets do not land James Harden, they might go after a player like Beal. They've also been connected to another All-Star that we're going to talk about here in a second. I know that the Heat are going to go after him. I think Philadelphia personally makes a lot of sense if they can somehow not trade Tyrese Maxey, which is going to be tough to acquire an All-Star like Beal without giving up that young star Tyrese Maxey. But Philly makes a lot of sense because Philadelphia, that championship window somewhat closing. Daryl Morey might try to extend that championship window with Joel Embiid by acquiring Bradley Beal. Will Bradley Beal get traded? What do you think? Let me know. Y for yes, N for no, down in the comment section. It's possible that he stays in Washington, but I think it's more likely than not at this point that he gets moved here in the coming weeks. Might even happen before next week's draft. When is the Ja Morant suspension going to happen? Adam Silver, we're waiting. When is this suspension going to be announced? We've been waiting a long time to figure out what's going to happen here with Ja Morant. Now, Adam Silver said that the suspension is going to be announced after the NBA Finals. We're filming this the Wednesday after the Finals ended. So Finals ended 2 days ago. He flashed a gun on Instagram 2 separate times. Prior to that, he and his friends pointed a laser at the Pacers team bus. That was back in January. So when you're looking at this suspension, this possible suspension, it's not going to be because of one incident. It's going to be because these incidents with Ja Morant just keep adding up, most recently being him flashing a gun on Instagram for the second time last month. So the question that we have, or we actually have two questions. Number one, when is this suspension going to be announced? Number two, what is this suspension going to look like? Probably going to be a very lengthy suspension for the All-Star. How long should Ja Morant be suspended? Let me know down in the comment section. I expect Adam Silver to send a message here. I think this is going to be a significant suspension. Now, when the incident first happened, I was thinking maybe 10 to 20 games. But then I was like, wait a minute. This is not the first time that Ja Morant's gotten into some trouble here. Multiple incidents have happened, which is why I think this is going to be a significant suspension. If I had to guess, I would say maybe half of the season, 41 games. Ja Morant did this last season with Memphis, so you got to think about this from a Grizzlies perspective. This is a significant loss for a team that finished second in the West last year. They could be without their star player for a long time. 26.2 points per game for Ja Morant last season in Memphis. Let's shift gears to Zion Williamson now, because last week, not a whole lot of trade buzz around Zion. That has since changed. There has been some serious juice around a Zion Williamson trade. This coming in from Mark Stein this morning. I heard this week from one well-placed observer who is convinced that the Pelicans would indeed consider dealing Williamson away if it meant they could draft Scoot Henderson, pointing to a rising level of exasperation within the organization regarding Williamson's ongoing availability issues and overall approach. Buckle up, because if Zion Williamson is on the trade block, this offseason is going to be absolutely insane. First, we heard about Beal. Then we heard about Zion Williamson, possibly him getting traded, because there's a lot of teams, including New Orleans, that really want to trade up into the top 3 to get Scoot Henderson. Who would you rather have? I'm not just asking Pelicans fans this. I'm just asking NBA fans in general. Zion or Scoot? Type Z for Zion or type S for Scoot. Who would you rather have on your team right now? We've seen Zion play at a high level. Hard for him to stay healthy, though. This is why I think I would say Scoot Henderson, if you can believe that. I think he's going to be a superstar. Got some jerseys on sale right now. Go and rep your team. Chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Your favorite team, I promise you, is going to be there if you go to that link. Chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Go gear up for next season. Make sure you're ready to roll. Get your favorite team, favorite player's jersey. Chatsports.com/NBA jersey. That link in the comments and the description of today's video. Chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Sticking with Zion here, could the Houston Rockets be a team that is in pursuit of Zion Williamson? Rafael Barlow had this to say, who covers the NBA. The Rockets hold the number 4 pick in the draft and are potentially interested in moving the pick for a win-now player. In my conversations, the name Zion Williamson has come up as a potential trade target for Houston. And if Houston can get Zion, that would be huge for a Rockets team that is looking to win in the near future after being really bad since they parted ways with James Harden 3 years ago. 26 points per game for Zion, 7 rebounds per game last season in 29 games. Again, just played in 29 games, and only he's played in 114 games in his NBA career. Taking a look at the potential Rockets starting 5 if they can get Zion. Now, I'm just going to assume that if they can get James Harden and Zion, they might move away from KPJ. I don't know if Kenyon Martin would have to be in a Zion deal, but that's a really good starting 5. James Harden, Jalen Green, Kenyon Martin Jr., Alfred Şengün, the Turkic Jokic, as I like to call him, and then Zion Williamson. That is a playoff caliber basketball team. And again, the Rockets are tired of losing. Tillman Fertitta, the Rockets owner, he wants to be aggressive this offseason. Should the Rockets trade for Zion Williamson? What do you think? Does it make sense if you're Houston? Type T for trade or type P for pass down in the comment section. I think the Rockets are going to be ultra aggressive this offseason. Now, obviously, their top target is James Harden. I expect James Harden to come back to the 7-1-3. But if they cannot get Harden, then they might look at a guy like Bradley Beal. It's already been reported that they're going after Austin Reeves if they swing and miss on James Harden. So the Rockets want to improve this roster. They want to start to win some games because it's been a long 3 years in Houston. Not to mention, they got Ime Udoka as the head coach. They're not messing around. I think the Rockets are going to be a lot better next season if they can make the necessary moves in free agency. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to continue to have you covered. Going to be a wild offseason in the association.